everybody, welcome back to my channel, or to my channel if you are new. Today's video is going to be the second in my little Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark series, where I am reading through some stories. And we're going to be reading through the second installment, which is more Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. If you haven't seen my first video yet, I will put it, I think, up there. I think that's the right way. And then I'll also put it down in the description box below. The stories I read are determined by this cauldron here. So I'm putting all the page numbers of when the stories start in this cauldron, pulling it out, and that's the story I read. Which story will I read first? Number 52. Oh my gosh. The cat in a shopping bag? Okay. The cat in a shopping bag. Mrs. Briggs was driving to the shopping mall to do some last-minute Christmas shopping when she accidentally ran over a cat. She could not bear to leave the corpse on the road for other cars to hit and squash. So she stopped, wrapped the cat in some tissue paper she had with her, and put it in an old shopping bag in the back seat. She would bury it in the backyard when she got home. At the mall, she parked her car and began walking to one of the stores. She had taken only a few steps when, out of the corner of her eye, she saw a woman reach into the open window of her car and take the shopping bag with the dead cat. Then the woman quickly got into a car nearby and drove away. Mrs. Briggs ran back to her car and followed the woman. She caught up with her at a diner down the road. She followed her inside and watched the woman slide into a booth and give a waitress her order. As the woman sat sipping her soda, she reached into Mrs. Briggs' shopping bag. Then she bent down and looked inside. A look of horror crossed her face. She screamed and fainted. The waitress called an ambulance. 2 attendants carried the woman away on a stretcher, but they left the shopping bag behind. Mrs. Briggs picked up the bag and ran after them. "This is hers," she called. "It's her Christmas present. She wouldn't want to lose it." That's the end. Okay. Okay, so this, I guess, is a lesson on stealing people's shopping bags. Don't steal people's shopping bags. It could have a dead cat inside, and then you could be stuck with a shopping bag with a dead cat. Next story. 49. Ooh, this picture. This picture's creepy. Oh, Susanna. Susanna and Jane shared a small apartment near the university where they were students. When Savannah got back from the library one night, the lights were out and Jane was asleep. Susanna undressed in the dark and quickly got into bed. She had almost fallen asleep when she heard someone humming the tune to the song, "Oh, Susanna." "Jane," she said, "please stop humming. I want to get some sleep." Jane didn't answer, but the humming stopped and Susanna fell asleep. She awakened early the next morning, too early she decided, and was trying to get back to sleep when she heard the humming again. "Please go back to sleep," she told Jane. "It's too early to get up." Jane didn't answer, but the humming continued. Susanna became angry. "Cut it out," she said. "It's not funny." When the humming still did not stop, she lost her temper. She jumped out of bed, pulled the covers off Jane, and screamed. Jane's head was gone. Somebody had cut off her head. "I'm having a nightmare," Susanna told herself. "When I wake up, everything will be all right." And that's the end of that one. As you saw, that picture is creepy. It does look like a dream almost. Like, I've definitely seen some nightmare stuff in my dreams similar to that. Okay, we're getting a lot of short ones, so let's draw another number. 58. A ghost in the mirror. This is a scary game that young people sometimes play, trying to conjure up a ghost in their bathroom mirror. Many don't really believe that a ghost is going to appear, but they try to raise one anyway, for the fun and the excitement. Some are willing to settle for any ghost, but others have a particular ghost in mind. One of these is a ghost named Mary Worth. who is also known as Mary Jane and Bloody Mary. She is the heroine of an old comic strip, but some say she actually was a witch who was hanged at the infamous witch trials in Salem, Massachusetts in 1692. Another of these ghosts is La Llorona, the weeping woman who wanders the streets of cities and towns from Texas to California and throughout Mexico looking for her lost child. Still another is Mary Wales, a young woman who is supposed to have been killed in a car accident in Indianapolis, Indiana, about 1965. Her ghost is one of the vanishing hitchhikers. It is said that again and again she thumbs a ride home in a passing car, then vanishes before she gets there. Here is how ghost hunters try to raise a ghost. Number 1, they find a quiet bathroom, close the door, and turn off the lights. Number 2, while they stare at their face in the mirror, they repeat the ghost's name, usually 47 times or 100 times. If any ghost will do, they say any ghost in place of a name. If they do manage to raise one, its face will slowly replace their face in the mirror. Some say a ghost is likely to be angry at being disturbed. If it gets angry enough, they say, it will try to shatter the mirror and come right into the room. But a player can always turn on the lights and send the ghost back to where it came from. And when that happens, the game is over. Okay, that was like less of a story, more of like, how do I conjure a ghost in my bathroom? No, thank you. I used to actually be pretty scared of the story about Bloody Mary though. Like just thinking that she was gonna come out of the mirror. Let's do one more, 37. This picture is pretty cool actually. It's just kind of like a person walking in the distance. It still looks creepy, but not as nightmarish as some of these other drawings. The window. Margaret and her brothers, Paul and David, shared a small house on top of a hill just outside the village. It was so warm one summer's night that Margaret could not sleep. She sat up in bed in the darkness of her room, watching the moon move across the sky. Suddenly, something caught her eye. She saw 2 small, yellow-green lights moving through the woods near the graveyard at the bottom of the hill. They looked like the eyes of some animal. She could not make out what kind of creature it was. Soon the creature left the woods and moved up the hill toward the house. For a few minutes, Margaret lost sight of it. Then she saw it coming across the lawn toward her window. It looked something like a man, and yet it didn't. Margaret was terrified. She wanted to run from her room, but the door was next to her window. She was afraid the creature would see her and break in before she could escape. When the creature turned and moved in another direction, Margaret rushed to the door. But before she could open the door, it was back. Margaret found herself staring through the window at a shrunken face like that of a mummy. Its yellow-green eyes gleamed like a cat's eyes. She wanted to scream, but she was so frightened that she could not make a sound. The creature broke the window glass, unlocked the window, and crawled inside. Margaret tried to flee, but the creature caught her. It twisted its long, bony fingers into her hair, pulled back her head, and sank its teeth into her throat. Margaret screamed and fainted. When her brothers heard her piercing scream, they rushed to her room. But by the time they got the door unlocked, the creature had fled. Margaret lay on the floor bleeding and unconscious. While Paul tried to stop the bleeding, David chased the creature down the hill toward the graveyard, but soon he lost sight of it. The police thought it was the work of an escaped lunatic who believed he was a vampire. When Margaret recovered, her brothers wanted to move to a safer place where it would be harder to break in, but Margaret refused. The creature would never come back. She was sure of that. But just in case, Paul and David began to keep loaded pistols in their rooms. One night, months later, Margaret was awakened by a scratching sound at the window. When she opened her eyes, there was the same shrunken face staring at her. That night, her brothers heard her cries in time. They chased the creature down the hill and David shot it in the leg. But the creature managed to scramble over the graveyard wall and disappeared near an old burial vault. The next day, Margaret and her brothers watched as the sexton of the church opened the burial vault. Inside was a horrifying scene. Broken coffins, bones, and rotting flesh were scattered all over the floor. Only one coffin had not been disturbed. When the sexton opened it, there lay the creature with the shrunken face that had attacked Margaret. The telltale bullet was in its leg. They did the only thing they knew of to rid themselves of a vampire. The sexton built a roaring blaze outside the vault and fed the shrunken body to the flames. They watched the body burn until nothing remained but ashes. Those are all my spooky stories for this video. If you would like me to do a third one, I have one more book to read from. Scary Stories 3. More tales to chill your bones. So I might do that, but I do hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. All my social media accounts will be at the beginning of this video or in the description box below. I hope you guys are having a wonderful October and a great day or night wherever you are right now, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.